I didn't do it for praise. I didn't do it for likes, followers, votes, or a seat on any board. I did it because no one else wanted to wake up at 5 a.m. in sub-zero temperatures to shovel snow so our elderly neighbors wouldn't bust a hip trying to get the mail. I did it because the city plows only half finished the job, and if I didn't, it'd stay frozen for days. I thought I was doing something good. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama. Karen, our HOA president, didn't see it that way. At first, she said nothing. She just watched from her window as I worked my way down the block, shoveling every sidewalk, clearing driveways where I could, even salting tricky corners. People waved, brought me hot cocoa, thanked me in the group chat. One old guy even said, "You do more than the entire HOA combined." And that's when Karen's head probably exploded. A few days later, I got a compliance warning on my door on official HOA letterhead stating that I was conducting unapproved maintenance work that could lead to property damage and legal liabilities. I laughed, thought it was a mistake, until she showed up at my door with a clipboard, a sour face, and the wild accusation, "I know what you're doing. You're not fooling anyone." "Excuse me?" I blinked, broom still in hand. "You're campaigning, trying to get people on your side, undermining the HOA with your little shovel and smile act." I stared at her. "Karen, I'm just clearing snow. You're trying to take over." She leaned in like this was some Netflix conspiracy. "You want my seat." At that point, I didn't even know when HOA elections were held. She stormed off before I could respond, but her words stuck in my head like a bad echo, and by sunset, the neighborhood group chat was oddly quiet. A couple people who usually wave didn't even look up. Then someone DM'd me, "Hey, Karen says you're planning to run for HOA president. Is that true?" That's when I realized she wasn't just paranoid. She was planning to ruin me before anyone could prove her wrong. I didn't even know you could run a political smear campaign in a cul-de-sac, but Karen managed it. Within 24 hours of our doorstep showdown, she'd turned my snow shoveling into a hostile takeover plot, and it was working. The next day, I noticed my name had been removed from the neighborhood group chat entirely. No warning, no explanation, just gone. Then came the looks, awkward glances from neighbors who used to bring me cookies. One guy actually turned and walked the other way when I waved. Then I got a screenshot from a neighbor I trusted. Karen had sent out a mass email through the HOA's official listserv titled, "Important Notice About Neighborhood Influence Tactics." I kid you not. In it, she warned that certain individuals, no names, but those engaging in unapproved snow removal, might be attempting to covertly sway neighborhood sentiment in advance of the HOA board renewal period. She called it dangerously political, for shoveling snow. She even accused me of targeting vulnerable residents to build loyalty, like I was running for snow mayor. Then came the cherry on top. She claimed I had damaged her lawn with my snowblower, except I never touched her property. I avoided her driveway like it had mines buried under it. I decided right then I wouldn't get mad. I'd get documented. I spent the next week collecting everything. Every email, every text. I went full Sherlock, took security cam footage from my porch showing my snow route, conveniently never touching her lawn, and got messages from neighbors who were willing to vouch for me. Even the old man with the cane offered a written statement. If helping people is a crime, then I guess we're all guilty. But I wasn't done. I dug into the HOA bylaws. Turns out any resident with support from at least 30% of the neighborhood could run for HOA president. I did the math. With 98 homes, I needed just 30 signatures. I printed my candidate registration form. If Karen wanted to accuse me of running for her job, fine. I'd make her accusation come true, only I wouldn't have to manipulate anyone to do it. She'd already done the campaigning for me. Karen called a surprise HOA meeting that Saturday, clearly hoping to put the final nail in my snow shoveling coffin. The flyer claimed the meeting was about restoring order and leadership clarity. Translation, she was about to throw me under the metaphorical snowplow. I showed up early, dressed clean, holding a binder stuffed with evidence. Karen walked in 20 minutes late, flanked by two board members she always bragged about mentoring. Her eyes locked on me like I'd committed treason. "I'll keep this brief," she announced, standing at the front of the clubhouse like she was giving a State of the Union. Certain individuals have been undermining HOA unity through unsanctioned public works and disruptive behavior. She didn't name me. She didn't have to. Half the room looked at me already. I stood up slowly, calm as a sunrise. Actually, I'd like to respond to that. I walked to the front and laid my binder on the table. First, here's my snow route, recorded by my home cameras. Play video. Every house, every sidewalk clean, no trace of Karen's property involved. Next, here's a copy of the warning letter Karen posted on my door, accusing me of property damage she can't prove. Flip page. Neighbor testimonies. I saw him shovel, he never went near Karen's lawn. Karen scoffed. This is absurd. No, Karen, what's absurd is accusing someone of plotting to overthrow you with a snow shovel. The crowd chuckled. Then I dropped the bomb. According to Section 4, Article 12 of the HOA bylaws, any resident with 30% support can run for HOA president. I brought 34 signed declarations from residents asking me to do just that. I slid the forms across the table. Silence. Then murmurs. Then a clap. Then two more. Karen looked like she'd swallowed her HOA handbook whole. I didn't plan to run. You inspired me. By Monday, the emergency vote was official. The board had no choice. Ballots were distributed. Karen tried everything. Door knocking, more emails, even flyers saying I was trying to turn the neighborhood into a socialist utopia. Didn't matter. By Friday, the results came in. I won by a landslide. Karen was dethroned, and I hadn't lifted a finger to campaign, just a snow shovel. Karen didn't take the loss well. She didn't come to the announcement meeting, didn't respond to the congratulatory HOA emails, and definitely didn't wave when I passed her house. What she did instead was something more Karen than I thought possible. She filed a complaint against me for emotional distress and manipulating elderly residents for political gain. It backfired. Turns out, one of those elderly residents she was referring to was a retired district judge. He found it hilarious and kindly pointed out that her complaint, if pursued, would expose her misuse of HOA communication channels and public defamation, both violations of the very rules she'd enforced, like gospel. But I didn't press charges. I had something better. As new HOA president, I gained access to everything. Meeting records, email archives, maintenance budgets. That's when I uncovered something Karen hadn't expected anyone to find. For the last 3 years, she'd been quietly funneling HOA beautification funds to a landscaping company that she co-owned under her cousin's name. Over $9,400 paid out for imaginary flower beds, non-existent mulch, and seasonal upkeep that was never performed. I took the evidence to the board, showed them the paper trail, then forwarded it to the HOA's legal consultant. Within a week, the company account was frozen, Karen was served, and an official audit was launched. A month later, Karen was standing in her front yard in slippers and a robe, shouting at officers as they escorted her to a waiting cruiser for fraud and embezzlement. As she was shoved into the cop car, I stood across the street with my morning coffee and a victory smile. A demolition crew had already begun tearing down the private patio cover she'd illegally built using HOA funds. Loud, dusty, and entirely satisfying. Spray painted across the HOA community board that morning was a bright orange note. $9,400 of stolen funds equals one snow shovel presidency. The rest of the neighborhood, they brought out lawn chairs. Someone even grilled hot dogs while the patio came down. A few neighbors took selfies with the demo site in the background. Karen watched from the back seat of the cruiser, face redder than a traffic light. Some battles are won with elections, others with receipts. Me, I just shoveled snow. The end. Please like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think Karen got what she deserved? Comment below.